It's my evil incarnate.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Swizz Sports Show. And my guest today is none other than Providence Bruins announcer, Dean College volleyball player for the men's team, men's soccer player. The man does it all, Nick Giglietti. Nick, how are you today?
Good, Tyler. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Always a pleasure chatting it up with you. Of course, our conversations at school about various sports, hockey. And I want to get into that first. Your experience this year alongside Brett Schaves, becoming a Providence Bruins hockey announcer, affiliate of the Boston Bruins. So you're the subpar to the NHL. What was that like for you?
It was an unreal experience. I mean, the game was a lot faster than I thought. I mean, I've never announced a higher game than college so far, but I got to thank Brett for all the, time and effort he put in for me to call a couple of games for the Providence Bruins, but it was very fun.
Now, speaking of which, you're a sports broadcaster alongside also being a multi-sport athlete. So, what made you fall in love with broadcasting, and what's that journey been like for you these past 4 years at Dean and continuing on at Merrimack?
Yeah, so I started announcing my freshman year of high school. I started announcing my brother's hockey games, and then the director of the media club at my high school said I should probably announce a couple more sports. So I started doing some softball and baseball, and I really fell in love with it. And that's why I chose Dean, because they had a great sports broadcasting program. And, the games at Dean have been super fun to announce. I got a chance to go on Bridgewater TV for men's lacrosse senior night. So, I mean, Dean's given me a lot of opportunities, and I'm so thankful for Dean, but Merrimack should be really fun too.
So, you mentioned Merrimack. So, what's next for you there? Like, what are you gonna do? Because obviously, you leaving Dean leaves a big absence on our campus. Like, we're not gonna be able to see gigs everywhere we go. We're not gonna be able to see, the guy on campus.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I mean, look, I had so much fun at Dean, and I wasn't really ready to, call it quits yet for announcing. So I'll be studying communications at Merrimack. So hopefully get another chance to announce some Division 1 hockey too. But you know, Merrimack's going to be totally different. It's such a bigger school, more students. So, but I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great experience.
Yeah, so let's talk about the soccer season a little bit. So you're 4 years at Dean for soccer. Kind of what was that experience like alongside playing with volleyball? Because they're two completely different sports, two different types of body training. So what was that like? And like, what was not only the physical preparation to play those games, but also the mental preparation like?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty tough for at least for soccer. You got to stay fit pretty much year round. Condition a lot over the summer. But as for like the group, it's a special group really. I mean, it wasn't really the season we wanted, but I mean, to go out with some of my best friends, it was really special. Obviously like during the last game, we didn't make playoffs, so like, I was starting to tear up because, not going to play soccer again because I mean, Merrimack's D1 and I'm not that talented. So but soccer, I mean, the mental part is just staying focused. I think a big thing with soccer is we want to win now. And, there are still many key components to that team. So I think, within the next few years, they'll definitely run it up and try and go for a GNAC championship. As for volleyball, I mean, it was a little tougher just because we knew we weren't going to be the best team out there. We knew we weren't going to be the tallest team out there. But the work ethic we put in every day, I mean, it was second to none, really. We'd have some 3-hour practices most of the time, like during the regular season. We'd be, practice, game, practice, and then a double header on Saturdays, and then only one day off to recover. So with volleyball, the mental part of it is staying fit and, going to recovery, going to see the trainers. So, yeah, I mean, those all both soccer and volleyball have really like impacted my life, and I'm so thankful I got the opportunity to play.
Yeah, so that leads me to one big question here because I know we can definitely have a big conversation about this. More you than me because you're the soccer guy.
Yeah.
Do you think Messi's the greatest of all time?
That's a tough question, man. Yeah, I think so. I think him going to Inter Miami, I don't really think that has a factor to do with, how he plays. I think he's still one of the best to ever play the game. Just because Ronaldo's in Saudi Arabia and there is a little better competition, that doesn't really mean anything to me. Messi's got all these trophies and awards and all the like tallies for the goals, assists. He's got everything. I think he's one of the best.
So, you being a sports broadcaster, you just graduating dean with that degree. What advice would you give to somebody or some of the upcoming freshmen or upperclassmen that are going to be graduating in a couple of years, like myself or other people, on how to maintain yourself in this industry? And not only that, but also push yourself in this industry as well.
Yeah, so for the freshmen, I'd probably say get to know your professors right away. They're there to help you and, they want to see you succeed. As for the upperclassmen, I'd say get involved. You know, go always look at LinkedIn, always look at Indeed, see what jobs are, applying or what jobs are hiring and stay connected with those jobs opportunities.
And you mentioned one of those words in there, opportunity, and that's one of the biggest parts of this industry gigs, and we can definitely say that because all the opportunities can present themselves. Just in this industry, it's a dog eat dog world.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like if you don't take up an opportunity, the odds of you going somewhere higher than you expect is going to be really low because if you don't have a good resume and you don't have all this experience, those opportunities aren't going to come right away.
Absolutely. Now, the last segment we always love to do here on the Swiss Sports Show is this or that. So
Yeah.
I'll ask you some things, and you just tell me how you feel about them. So I'm going to start off first. You know, you're a big hockey guy.
Yeah.
So Gretzky or Bobby Orr?
I got Gretzky all day.
I know why too, because Islanders.
Yeah. Well, no, Gretzky,
Oh
he was
no,
on the Rangers, yeah.
yeah, Rangers.
But
That's
I
what I meant.
mean, I don't think anyone's going to beat his point record. I don't think anyone comes close.
Ovechkin or Zdeno Chara?
Okay, okay. Um, Geez, that's a tough question because Chara was a really good defender for the Bruins, but at the same time, Ovechkin could beat Gretzky's goal record. Oh man, I think the better leader is Chara, but I think the better player is Ovechkin.
For the Bruins fans out there, Marchand or Bergeron?
Oh wow. Um, Probably Bergeron, just because he's. I always thought he was the heart and soul of the team. And he cares about his players more than he cares about the way he plays, and it's not just about his offensive production, it's more about getting back and uh you know whether that be in the defensive zone, the neutral zone. So I think Bergeron over Marchand.
Next one we got Pelé or Maradona?
Ooh. Oh wow, it's a tough question too. I like let's go with Maradona.
Really?
Yeah.
So how come Maradona over Pelé? Because a lot of people look at Pelé, who actually recently passed away too, sadly. They look at him as one of the pioneers and pillars of soccer or football, as they like to call it down in Brazil and all of that. So why Maradona?
I don't know, I kind of just went on a limb to be honest, but I think Maradona, like, I think he was more of a true like athlete than Pele.
All right, so the World Cup or the Stanley Cup?
Stanley Cup all day. Yeah, much harder. I think it's much harder to win. You play 82 regular season games, and if you don't have, let's say, 90 points, you're not making the playoffs. Then you got to go through to win the Stanley Cup. You got to win 16 games. Unlike the World Cup, where it's a couple of group stage games, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then finals. So I think Stanley Cup's a little harder to get.
So one question I got for you too is I haven't asked this one yet because you're a broadcaster, so I figured I'd wait for this episode to ask it to get your
Yeah.
opinion because we have to do a lot of sports. If you could choose one sport to eliminate from history, what is it?
Probably field hockey. I don't think it's not as popular as some of the other key sports like hockey, football, soccer. Uh, but like I just don't think it's that popular.
No disrespect to field hockey either. It's just it's a
Right.
game us sports broadcasters don't know how to call because we don't
Yeah, yeah.
understand the game.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, it's kind of weird though because like field hockey, you expect it to kind of be like ice hockey, but there's totally different rules. I When I first went to Dean, I went to a field hockey game. I didn't realize you couldn't only use one side of the stick, and it's only right-handed too. So like, let's say I'm a lefty in hockey, like I would have to, switch my hand placement and figure it all out.
Yeah, so speaking of field hockey and games like that, like has there ever been one game or one sport while at Dean was besides field hockey that was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can call this game because it's so difficult to understand.
Yeah. For me, I'm not a big basketball fan. Um, like I've never really watched it that much, never really paid attention to it that much. So calling some basketball games are always kind of tough for me because I mean I know like the terms, 3-point goal, field goal, all that stuff, but you know what to say during the game because there are a lot of stoppages too in basketball. So, trying to figure out what to say in a basketball game is a little harder for me.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about basketball for a second because there was a viral video of you that went around campus. It was a weekend. It was the night LeBron broke Kareem's record, and it's just you screaming like "Let's go" because you were trying to be so encouraging, like to what was going on. And then I asked you about it the next day, and you were just like, "I have no idea what happened. I was just in the moment."
Yeah,
So
no, I mean, I think that was at Boomers, right?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
at Boomers. It was just
Yeah,
because
because
that moment
me
right there, it was so historic that everyone on the campus,
yeah.
sports fans or not, they were just there to watch that moment. So, what was that like being a part of history there in a sense?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, I think some of my roommates told me about it as we were going to Boomers, and we kind of stayed to watch a little bit of the game, and then once LeBron hit that shot, we were going crazy just because why not? What's gonna happen? So, but I mean, it was pretty cool.
All right, and the last question I got for you here today is if there's two people from the men's soccer team and two people from the women's volleyball team to look out for this season that are going to have breakout seasons, who are they and why?
All right, let's start with soccer. Definitely see a big season coming for Luke Palmer, staying back for the fifth year. I think he's really gonna, try and lead his team to try and make the playoffs. The second person I'd say, uh, let's go with Sean Doherty, uh, team MVP this year for the soccer team, and he's become a true leader for the soccer team. And it seems like he never gets angry with himself. He kind of moves on pretty quickly and makes another great play. So those are two guys for the soccer team. Women's volleyball, that's a good question. I mean, Sari's given to have a good season. Um, let's go with Emily LaRouche,
Mm-hmm.
big outside hitter. She just hit 100 kills this season, but you know, if she continues to work and everything, I think she could easily be one of the probably like third team GNAC, second team GNAC. Second player for women's volleyball. Oh boy, that's kind of tough. Let's go
Which
with Bella Driscoll.
okay.
She's an amazing setter. She's got great hands. Um, I'm sure she'll break the record someday for most assists at Dean. So those are two girls I'd say on the women's volleyball team. How about the men's? Can we say the men's volleyball?
Yeah, we can definitely do the men's.
All right. Let's go big season for Aaron Fonseca. Big returner for them since they lost some key guys. Not to, pat myself on the back, but I think Aaron, whatever they decide on what position he plays, I think he's got to have a big season for them and try and lead them to a couple more wins. I would also say Arthur Felicio. I think he was a setter in high school and he was a middle hitter this year. But he adjusted really well. I think if he continues to work on like his footwork and you know, being a little more vocal, I think those are two guys that I'd really watch out for on the men's volleyball team.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for episode 4 of the Swiss Sports Show with Nick Giglietti, or as everybody likes to call him, Gigs. And next week, we landed a big guest. Mark Blair will be on the Swiss Sports Show. Mark, of course, having an overseas combine draft and going to play overseas, hopefully this summer. And we'll chat it up with him. Gigs, appreciate you for coming on the show today. It was a pleasure, my friend, and we look forward to your future at Merrimack.
Thanks, Tyler. Definitely keep in touch.
Will do.